It's chaos as vast hordes of unruly gangs literally take to the streets in major cities all over America, to say the least. This is by Michael Snyder. Did you know that gangbangers in Chicago are extremely upset because a migrant gang from South America is starting to take over territory that once belonged to them? So you can understand what's going on here now. I guess it's the survival of the fittest. I don't know what to say. Now, he says, as you'll see later in the article, law enforcement authorities in Chicago have completely lost control of the Windy City, and a major gang conflict could erupt at any time. But of course, it is not just Chicago that has descended into a state of complete and utter chaos. In Los Angeles, a horde of approximately 50 young such people ruthlessly looted 7-Eleven Friday evening. About a group of 50 juveniles on bikes ransacked a 7-Eleven in Pico Robertson Friday evening, the latest in a sting of recent robberies targeting the convenience chain, authorities said. And the group of juveniles, estimated between the ages of 12 and 15, entered the store at 8500 West Olympic Boulevard around 7:25, and they took items, according to Los Angeles Police Department spokesperson, of course not paying for them. They stole them. Most of the juveniles fled the scene by the time the officers arrived, of course. Now, the reason why this incident barely made a blip in the news cycle is because this sort of thing now happens in Los Angeles on a regular basis. The same store was targeted, also reportedly by a group of around 50 teens on bikes, August 9, according to Fox 11 Los Angeles. And a week later, a group of young men on bikes robbed two convenience stores reported to be 7-Elevens in Hollywood. And on August 24th, a similar ransacking at a 7-Eleven in San Pedro. In the middle of the country, the streets of Indianapolis are constantly under siege. In fact, it's being reported that police in the city recently had to break up 5 different street takeovers in 48 hours. Police said that they were met with violent crowds when they tried to break up 5 different street takeovers in 48 hours in Indianapolis. Indianapolis was once such a quiet city, but now everything has changed. When Indianapolis police go out to break up these street takeovers, they are often viciously attacked. IMPD says officers in the Indiana State Police troopers were thus attacked, and their cars were damaged while responding to several street racing and spinning events in Indianapolis over the weekend. The first incident, reported at 2:30 in the a.m. Saturday, September 14, near East Washington and Pine Streets, just east of downtown Indianapolis. Officers conducted a traffic stop, saw 100 to 200 cars engaged in reckless driving, including spinning in a parking lot, and the department said in a statement. Chaos is even reigning in major cities in the Bible Belt. This weekend, there were horrifying mass events in Birmingham, Alabama, that made headlines all over the nation. Now, needless to say, there's been chaos in our streets for a long time now, but now things are going to be to an entirely new level. Many are blaming the surge in migration that we've been witnessing while Joe Biden has been in the White House. In Springfield, Ohio, crime rates obviously skyrocketed during the past 3 years. Reports of shoplifting, vehicle theft, and increased considerably in Springfield, Ohio, following the arrival of thousands of Haitian refugees, according to data obtained by Daily Caller News Foundation through a records request. The town, which had a population of 58,622 in 2020, has taken in between 12,000 and 20,000 Haitian refugees over the past 3 years, marking a population increase of between 20.4% and 34.1% from 2021 to 2023. Springfield also saw a 51.5% jump in motor vehicle theft reports and a 112.8% spike in reports of shoplifting, data provided by the Springfield Police Department shows. In Chicago, migration has been fueling the growth of criminal gangs, and gang members now outnumber the police by more than 10 to 1. And with numbers like that, there's no way that the police can maintain any sort of control. A migrant gang from Venezuela known as the Tren de Aragua is now steadily taking over territory that once belonged to local gangs, and members of those local gangs are furious because the migrants are getting far more government handouts than they are. And there's been a lot going on with the migrant gangs that nobody even is hearing about. Zach Massey, 27, a street dealer who first went to prison in 2015, just recently got out, said, "They be moving in our territory and robbing people, but they don't get arrested like we do. I actually talked to one on the translator app. He told me all the things he got going on, how they helped him get a car, an apartment, EBT card, all this stuff. They're giving them handout, these thousands, and we get maybe $400 a month, and they don't even have social security numbers," he said. It's even being reported that teachers in Chicago elementary schools are being told to give their migrant students a 70% in every subject and pass them on the next grade, even if they don't speak English. The teachers we spoke with work in CPS elementary schools, and they say they spoke no Spanish while their migrant students spoke no English, making communication virtually impossible. They also added that because their schools were located in predominantly black neighborhoods, they offered no English as a second language, ESL support. Despite this, they say they were instructed by school administrators to give their migrant students a 70% pass in every subject and pass them on to the next grade. Teachers say this was the case even if the migrant students displayed severe academic deficiencies. The locals that have been suffering in deeply impoverished sections of Chicago for many years understand very clearly what's going on, and they are deeply frustrated. Tensions in the city have never been higher, and one ex-gang member that has gone straight told New York Post that it's just a matter of time before a gang war begins. He says, "When gangs here get fed up with the illegalities and criminal activities of these migrants or non-citizens, the city of Chicago is going to go up in flames, and there will be nothing the National Guard or the government can do about it when the bloodshed hits the streets, and it'll be gangs against migrants," he said. "For a long time we were warned that there would be chaos in the streets of America, and now it seems it's here." Law enforcement has already lost control of the streets and cities all over the country, and the theft and whatever's going on, unruly and illegal events only get worse with each passing day. Meanwhile, millions of additional migrants come pouring into this nation illegally every single year. Our politicians have created ideal conditions for widespread civil unrest, and once it fully erupts, nobody is going to be able to control it, he says. And this is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's new book entitled Why is available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 8 other books available on Amazon, including Chaos, End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies, Future America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life." If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.